Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the last daily tune in of its kind. And I say that without kind of really knowing what that means, but spontaneity is calling, and that is where we are energetically. That's where we are in this ascension process. That's where we are as a community. And we have been prepped, we have been trained, we have been given the knowledge. And now it is time, given the knowledge, let me finish that sentence. Given the knowledge, giving, all the training and being prepped by our ascension process, by paying attention to that in our awakening. We have come to understand energy. We have come to understand the creative process. Really, the creative process is this cycle of life death in our lives. The creative process, the evolutionary process, the ascension process, whatever you want to call it, is all the process of how do we go from where we are into an elevated expression of life, and keep that happening throughout our lifetime, so that we are always expressing in a higher and more evolutionary way. We are the ones that no longer choose the world of stagnant safety. We are kind of trading that in, or upgrading to a world of great creative expression, great creative freedom, the freedom to create a world, a reality, and a life that is abundant, that is creative, that is communal. That is exactly what we want it to be. We know that is what is being called 5D Earth, or the new Earth, or a higher reality. Now is the time for that to be created. Because if you've been here for any amount of time on the daily tune-ins, you know that we have started really back in October, working with the energies, and understanding how the energies of our cosmos, of our solar system, of our galaxy affects our human consciousness. We have become more and more aware of that. We have brought our creative energies into a higher realm of knowledge by sharing our experiences, and by sharing our perspectives of how we've learned this ascension process. We have really covered the basics of the knowledge part of evolving our souls into higher expressions of life in incremental periods, cycles of growth. We know now that we cycle as our planet cycles. We each have a summer to harvest what we sow what we sow in the fall, and we have that winter season where we go inward, and we purge and we cleanse. So now that we understand the cycle, we then got into these 90 days, these 90 days that we've been challenged to actually navigate the creative process. Navigate the creative process, meaning we had the idea of what we were intending to create in these 3 months together. We went through, what are the plot twists? What would we love to see our life turn into? What is that 5D reality that we have now gotten the data on how to create creatively and with nature cycles? What does that look like? And we spent the first half of this of our 90 days together, of our 3 months together, really organizing in consciousness what that looks like, what that feels like, feeling into it, exposing and purging anything that didn't resonate with that higher reality, working through all of the energies, not working through, but working through, and also receiving the higher frequencies that these solar cycles have given us throughout these last few weeks. We have been amplified in our work here. We've been amplified. Our intentions have been amplified. Our electromagnetic fields have been amplified. Our bodies, our light bodies, have come up into frequency to integrate with our new physicality, with our new spirituality. As you know, as the higher we rise in frequency, the wider our perspective gets, and as our perspective gets wider and our vessel gets cleared of any densities, we now have a clear vision of where we're going in our ascension process. What in that ascension process is, what's the next level for you? What does that look like? That's all we're working on right here. That's all we've been working on, the plot twist that takes us into the next level. And many of you have shared, especially in our Ascension Bank and the incubator calls, we've had some really soulful conversations about this process in the last few weeks. I don't know what's been happening these intimate circles, but something very rich, something very deep is happening. And yesterday we had an Ascension Bank call, members call, and the conversation left me kind of like nee for a little bit, because it was so beautiful, and I know that we were being held in a larger circle of our guides, of our teams that were all together. The warmth of that, the way that circle felt to me, I knew that there was something really special that's happening in there. And we've all been sharing so vulnerably our own unique expressions of our process, of our growth, of our ascension into a higher reality together. I've been sharing as much as I can, and pretty vulnerably here on the daily tune-ins every single day since October. And what I have noticed is that there's a tug. And we've talked about, listening to the nudges, and there's been a tug in the last few days, and the tug has gotten now to like a yank. Like, do you hear us? And the yank is kind of yanking me in another direction with the daily tune in. And I was resisting it because I said, no, I've committed to 90 days. I committed to being here live for 90 days. And the tug is asking me to be less scheduled and more spontaneous with sharing with you and sharing my experience. Because what's happening now is we've crossed over the line from the creation story, the creation process being in consciousness alone, which is what we've been working on, to now inspired activity to lead us into the physical creation. So the last half of this 90 days, or this month and a half left, this is when we've got our boots on the ground, and we are following the thread of joy to creating the thing, creating the reality. So here's how it's showing up for me. It's showing up in that I'm getting this tug to really start to be spontaneous, even more spontaneous. And what I've been noticing is I've been more resistant of having to be here every day at 4 o'clock my time, because it's hindered a few times. It's hindered the ability to flow in the direction, that creation, that nature, that my intuition, that my team Leo takes me. And I'm in this space finally of having the freedom to be able to follow wherever I'm invited to go, whether I'm invited by a person, which is an angel in my world, whether a spontaneous something that comes up. That's not that's Gus showing up. That's Gus delivering from the storehouse. When it's spontaneous and it makes you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I couldn't make that stuff up. Yes, I want to go. Those are the moments I want to be able to experience, to document, and to share with you, because that too is part of the creative process. And spontaneity is also coming to me creatively. I'm coming really, really far back into, like, going deep down into my roots of being a writer. and developing my writing skills and developing my creative skills and starting to use creative writing as a way to write my own future. I was sharing with the Ascension Bank members yesterday that in the last couple of weeks, I have seen art that Bud and I have done together years ago, and is completely forgotten about it. But when I saw it, it reminded me exactly of something in my current life. And I've had this happen both in writing that I've done and in painting and in art journaling. And in three different cases, I drew or I wrote what is now being lived in my reality. That made an idea, an inspired idea come online. Bing! What if I wrote a fictional creative story about whatever my imagination, about a journey my imagination takes me on, that would be the greatest story of my life to live? What if I wrote that and then watched to see how it showed up in my physical reality? What if I creatively write my reality into my now moment? That idea nearly blew my heart wide open. And I said, yes. Therefore, I want the freedom and the ability to be able to sit down when inspiration calls and write. And I want the freedom and the ability to be wherever, whenever, to record a storehouse moment and then put that together in a beautiful share of a video each day. I think it's going to still be daily, and just put it up on YouTube, and when you are called to see it, you will see it. And when you are called to see it, you will then see how this journey is unfolding from in my reality. With the Ascension Bank members, I'll be sharing, the personal details and all of that with you all. So our community will still be in the conversation. We will be having our conversations online and obviously together. So nothing changes there. The only thing that changes is that we're not going to do daily tune in live. We're simply going to do, here's the daily check-in, here's how everything is unfolding from my end, and this is the message for the day. It'll just simply be a recording. I'm super, super stoked about this, these last few weeks of this 90 days being where we step back out of the talking about things and we step into the inspired action of things. And I say inspired action because I don't want to call it the doing part. The action is the art. Whatever you are called to do. I'm called to write, I'm called to paint, I'm called to create stuff with my husband, and whatever we're called to do together is our art. Therefore, however you're called, you don't have to say, "Oh, I have to go right now. I don't want to do that." You just follow where your multidimensional being takes you, because this is where we fine tune the skill set of Jeannie Get Gas, of listening to whatever comes up and following that energy, even if we don't really understand it. By now, we are in tuned with the consciousness that knows that every single left turn, right turn, or straight arrow is the exact direction that we are being guided to go, because now we have our unique journey of following our intuition, our teams, our intuitive guidance into the stepping into the higher realities at this point. We are building it now. We are building it with our hands. That is the art of our life at this moment. The other thing that I really want to remind you of is, if you are feeling far from this point, if you're saying, man, I'm still sitting in some poo puddles, I still have disaster all around me, then you're in the right exact time, in the right exact space, and you need to be in at this moment. I share this message with you to not give you something to feel bad about because you haven't gotten to that level, or you haven't reached this point, or whatever, your crazy ego wants. No judgment, whatever any one of our crazy egos wants to tell us. This is about letting you know that this experience now is sniffing around you. It's right around you. It's available to you. So if you're sitting in the poo puddle, allow the poo puddle to still do what it needs to do, because that's the purging that still is being required of you. And you have to sit with that, because you can't get into the next phase or the next step until you've completed that step. So just sit in the poo puddles. This is just on the other side. So um, stay the course. Wherever we are, we're going to stay the course, and also stay the course, and yet allow ourselves to be pulled forward by inspiration. And that is how we are going to stay spontaneous. That is how we are going to start putting together and building the 3D realities of our worlds. And in the Ascension Bank is where we come together, and we're going to still piece all of this, all this 5D world together. And even the dogs are getting excited. Priya's barking, and she's not ever the one that barks. So something's happening right now. I know this is all being amplified. There's some energy that's happening here. I'm sending this. Okay, hold on. It's okay. It's okay. Just sending this energy. There's like all kinds of crazy energy happening right now. So because of this, and I'm going to now just affirm for each and every one of us on this call, and anyone who's going to see this recording, that this energy is amplifying all of the desires of the heart, clearing and cleansing anything that distorts any communication from your higher self, any distortion of communication from your galactic team, your angelic team, your guides, your ancestors. All of that be cleared, so that everything, the communication, the direction, the joy, the bliss, can be sniffed out so easily and so effortlessly. It just puts a big old smile on your face, and you just say, okay, universe, I'll take that. And yet your storehouse just keeps delivering and delivering and delivering. And it's so damn obvious. You just simply lean down metaphorically and pick those gifts up, and you spread that wealth everywhere you go. And you share that on social media, hashtag it with Open the Storehouse, and let's change this algorithm from an algorithm to actual reality, and spread this reality to every single human being. And we start that by doing it ourselves, by following our hearts, by going where we're inspired, by doing the things that make us, tickle our souls, and make us laugh out loud and give us some belly laughs. We say yes to, and more of that. It multiplies, it expands, it gives you more than enough to spare and share, and you let it go, and you pass it on to all of humanity in the consciousness. And that is how this great world amplifies into that 5D soul reality, and we all get to live it together, unified. That is what we're doing here. Thank you for being here, you all. I'm so happy. I'm going to leave it at this because I feel really, really good. And I have no doubt that the chat is all absolute beauty. And whatever is in there, I amplify that as well. And I'm going to leave this be. And I will see you tomorrow. It'll be a recording, but I bet you it's going to be a lot more exciting than this background and me standing here and in front of the same thing. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring you all parts of Albania. I'm going to bring you into my day. I'm going to be spontaneous with the message. I'm going to give you a little bit more of me, and a little bit deeper of a perspective of me, because I'm going to bring you more intimately into where I'm called to take you into. And that's really exciting for me. And I'm very honored to be asked to do that. And I'm very honored to be in a position now to be able to be spontaneous and to share my experience of life, because nothing here now that I'm in is a drag. It's peaceful. I'm honored to be here, and I'm going to make this life incredible while I'm here. It is sacred to me. I've never dropped the idea that it was sacred. I've always held high expectations for the life that I've created for myself. And now that I'm living the dream that I thought was the highest expectation, I got a I got a journey to go on. So I'm going to share that journey very openly, and I'm going to love that journey, and I'm going to treat it as the sacred gift that it is. So I want to share that with you and share my heart. I'm going to continue to do that, just not live. Unless I decide to spontaneously go live, then I will share there as well. Otherwise, I will see you all in the Ascension Bank for our beautiful weekly conversations. And in the incubator group, I'll see you also. You know how we go and that, how deep we go. I look forward to that. Thank you all so much. Love to you.